economics ni nyoma obi a kire na adwene. Now sorry anopa the we and say Bernard Avle and the group of boys on CITI TV say the challenge, and I quote, the challenge we face is that we don't have a long-term vision for anything. And this statement is from Bernard Avle and his group of panelists. Now, me who statement we know, and I'm going to say, are we serious as a people? Because as journalists, we are supposed to be abreast of the issues, and we have to basically ask ourselves questions, research, before we go out there and spill nonsense. Now, let's listen to Bernard Avle and his group.
And this government has a bounce. People like this government. They are new. They are fresh. So everybody wants to come. Everybody wants to show that they are in support. So everybody came, right? People who are not invited came. They wanted to be given a chance to talk. So there's a bit of a spring in the step. Bankers, finance people, like everybody wants to do something.
Initial gaga.
So the president has goodwill, which he has to use well. You know. So I hope like it's not window dressing. So which is why it's good for his ministers to come and sit down and actually listen. You know, one of the things that have worried us is that politicians assume that because they are in office, they know everything. But a lot of people in and of course politicians they have their role. They are combining and solving different problems. But I feel like there are so many people who want to give you the experience for free, who are sharing their views, particularly in the macroeconomic stability room. If I'm the Minister of Finance and the BOG boss, I'll sit down with a pen and just write. Because you may not get all these people in the room at the same time. I mean, if you have Nico Akusowa, Polakwa, you have everybody. You know, these are heavyweights of macroeconomics. So listen to them for all it's worth. Fine, you have some new ideas. There's new realities in the economy. So it's not everything old that is good, but you need that judgment. So I think it was a really good time. This is my point. The challenge we face is that we don't have long-term vision for anything.
The statement was clear. Bernard Avle, I think he was the moderator for the event. Also, nipa bebrebe share ono krampo de hu ni say nka this finance minister kasa. Eni say nka omo de omo international no taking notes. The finance minister has to let people know. He needs to let the world know. The people sitting there, the status Ghana economic year status BBA, he needs to let them know. The government invited Ghanaians to let Ghanaians know what is actually happening. So why should the finance minister, who is the head of Yesikasem, to sit the Bank of Ghana governor, why are they supposed to take the back seat and take notes? They are supposed to let the people know that this is what we came to meet. That is why we need your ideas to find a way to maneuver, to find a way to get out of this mess. So when the finance minister comes and sits down, take a notebook and start writing. Bank of Ghana governor comes, sits down, take a notebook, start writing. They all know the problems they have inherited. Then these people who are also so-called experts, what are they going to base their statements on? What are they going to use to make their point? Because something should be said, a problem should be spoken about before we can find a solution to that problem. It for Bernard Bettina TV so say any senka finance minister kasa any senka Bank of Ghana governor kasa or senka ministers ni no mo chrochro na omo aye invite you no dey no mo beka, because there should be something sitting on the table for us to discuss. Now ehokran hame, the part that worries me, and I say journalism in Ghana is becoming so weak every single day. And yes, kasa, we are not supposed to speak every day. Adebia osha on ni view or let it go. But some of the radio so I know the piano, you people want people to think say munim bibia and that everybody is stupid. Now let me take you back a little bit. Or see, the challenge we face is that we don't have a long-term vision for anything. It is a lie. Bernard Avle is a liar. On this particular topic, he lied. Ghana has a long-term vision. It is people who we give power to derail a long-term vision. The long-term vision has been there. Under John Dramani Mahama, all the way back in 2012, he was able to put together the National Development Planning Commission. And what was it about? It was a 40-year plan. The 40-year plan, what was it going to do? It was to guide this country, how we were going to build economically, socially, how we were going to set our country up. It involved everything. 40 years. Nanado Dankweku for the MPP for power. The 40-year plan. So for you to sit as a journalist without doing any of your research to say, as a nation, we don't have a vision. We don't have a long-term plan. We have. That is why during the debate between Akufo-Addo and John Mahama, he took his time to let Ghanaians understand why it is important for us to have a 40-year plan, the National Development Planning Commission, so that we can basically plan this country in a way that the next 40 years, to me and fall into the traps we are falling in. There has always been a plan. The National Development Planning Commission, it is sitting there. The plan is there. Professor Adai Mokachere said, we don't need a 40-year plan. This is John Mahama defending the NDPC.
I will go to the president and the presidential candidate of the NDC to answer the same question in 3 minutes.
Indeed, I think there's a confusion in the mind of the NPP presidential candidate in the answer he gave. That is exactly the concern we have in this country, that when political parties leave government, the plans and visions that are instituted are thrown away. And so if we assume that every 4-year cycle, a government potentially could lose elections, it means every 4 years we'll have a new National Development Planning Framework. And that is why the CRC flagged that issue. And so to say that immediately you come into office, your manifesto is going to be put, you won't wait for 2 years. We waited for the GPRS2 to run its course because an attempt had been made to create a stakeholder participation in GPRS2. And that's why when we came into office, we were not in a hurry to throw GPRS2 away. We waited for GPRS2 to run its course before we presented the GSGDA. And so I don't see what problem the MPP presidential candidate is fixing by saying immediately I come to government, I'm not waiting for 2 years, I'm taking my manifesto, I'm putting a plan in place. That is the problem we want to cure. And making your vice president the chair of NDPC, politicizing the NDPC, I think he's absolutely lost his way. What we're saying is there's a difference between a national vision, and that is what the NDPC creates. The NDPC is supposed to create a national development planning framework, and that is the overarching framework of what as a nation we want to achieve and where we want to go. Within that national development planning framework, we can have our own political, ideological, operational plans that must fit into the national development planning framework. And so it's like turning the whole planning issue on its head. What we are doing is we're implementing the GSGDA, which was brought about as a result of wide stakeholder consultation. What we need to do is to ensure that we coordinate the planning function of the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning and the mandate that the NDPC has, in order that the NDPC and the MOFEP are working in sync rather than at cross purposes. Because the MOFEP, that's the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning, is responsible for the 3-year rolling plan, which is the MTEF, in terms of the budget cycle. And so what we are doing currently, we're not waiting to come into power to do. What we're doing currently is synchronizing the MTEF and the National Development Planning Framework, which is the Ghana Shared Growth and Development Agenda. And if we do that, we will find that there will be no conflict between MOFEP and NDPC, and we'll make much quicker progress than we have done in the past.
A follow-up to that, and then I'll give Nanado an opportunity to do a rebuttal. He's indicated he wants to do a rebuttal. The Constitution Review Commission recommended that the plans of the NDPC be entrenched and be binding on successive governments. But your government, never mind who was your predecessor president, disagreed with that. In the light of what you say, is that something you want to revisit?
The NDPC is a constitutional body mandated by the Constitution to perform a certain mandate. And all parties respect the Constitution. And so the provision that sets up the NDPC is a provision that we all respect. And so our point is that after that plan has been produced using broad stakeholder consultation, it would be excessive to constitutionalize the plan. Because if it's a 5-year rolling plan, it means every 5 years you amend the Constitution to incorporate the new plan. The NDPC has enough constitutional backing already.
Simple as that. And this NDPC has been sitting there, National Development Planning Commission or Commission has been sitting there. It was a 40-year plan. So why is Bernard sitting on TV? All because we are sitting on radio, we have to speak. You people need to do your research. We were supposed to insist that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and his political party stuck to the principles, because this had been put in place. If we had followed this 40-year plan, we wouldn't be here struggling again for the NDC to come and solve our economic problems. And in the first place, this forum that we are having today, the NPP that caused the problem, they have decided not to even join the discussion. So who are you supposed to blame? You are not supposed to blame all politicians. You are supposed to blame the people who caused the problem. Because in 2016, 17, 18, if Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and the NPP had implemented this, we wouldn't be here today. We would have known in the next 10, 15 years how the governing of this country would be. Because every political party BIA, the manifesto, the policies, the ideas. But the national idea should be paramount. It needs to sink. It needs to sit inside the bigger agenda, which is the national agenda. Now, we let Akufo-Addo and the NPP throw this document away, and they said they were going to create a 10-year development plan. Where is that 10-year development plan? So for you as a journalist, sit on radio to say, we as a nation, we don't have a long-term vision. We have. You and I, we have been lazy. Especially you, Bernard Avle, you have been lazy to question the people who are supposed to make sure that the laws that the Constitution has put out there for us to force to work. We have neglected those responsibilities. We are supposed to force them. For 80 years, you as a journalist did not sit on radio and TV to insist that we start to build this nation using the National Development Plan framework. You never did that. Why, yes, sir? Into DNA radio soon say we don't have a vision. John Mahama and the NDC put 40. JJ Rollins even started 2020. John Mahama mobile a 40-year plan. And we need to understand the moment you make Jai Sadia way, you're honest with ourselves. You know, the politicians will be lying to us every day. And it's they be able to say Jimmy, because people like you will always be blaming politicians. But for some time, the politician had made this available to us. We are supposed to insist the politicians do that job. JJ started Vision 2020. John Mahama mobile on the 40-year development plan by Adentina Akufo-Addo Edi really free so. Professor Adai and the likes, those political insects, they came and said 40-year development plan is too long. Professor Adai, 8 months no, Kwasi Ampenyi way, 7 months no. This man just came in with his stupid tribal bigotry to come and tell us to change a 40-year plan to a 10-year plan. You did 8 years since the Akufo-Addo power, 9th year ni 10-year development plan away. So we are not supposed to be that childish. We are supposed to be journalists who basically research. We should stop taking sides and trying to make people think we are neutral. We are not. We need to let the people know the truth. What I saw there is total misinformation and disinformation. Ghana has a long-term vision. We as journalists and we as Ghanaians need to insist that the politicians stick to that vision. It's a 40-year-old vision. Why are we not talking about it? Audience and 40-year-old vision. Akufo-Addo Kwasi Ampenyi way or buy and implement here and you stay within that vision. Do you think we'll be here today? And that is what we do with the mic. That is what we do with the radio. And you're misinforming the young ones. And then it will get into somebody's head. Hey, politicians, they don't care about Ghana for. We don't have a vision. We have a vision. Let me show you something. I don't have it here. Let me try and pull it out. Okay? The 40-year development plan. I'm trying to get you the concept, what the NDC, the concept they had, how in the next 40 years, what they wanted to do. This is what the NDC had in mind. John Mahama and the NDC government, time on the 40-year development plan we buy now. This was the kind of concept they had in mind. 40 years, they wanted us to have these things.
The Black Star Stadium is a futuristic facility that will be built under Ghana's long-term national development plan to host a major international sporting event such as the FIFA World Cup or the Olympic Games. It will be to Ghana what the Statue of Liberty is to America or the Eiffel Tower is to France. It will be an iconic tribute to Ghanaian ingenuity, vision, and hard work. The stadium's state-of-the-art features will draw from the best of the 21st century technology, engineering, and architecture. It will be eco-friendly and a powerhouse of social, economic, and sporting activities. The entire roof will be made up of solar panels to provide electricity for the stadium. Solid and liquid waste generated at the stadium will be recycled to provide additional energy. There will be 4,000 underground parking spaces equivalent to a 4-story building. The 5 points of the star will contain the following: a hotel, offices, conference facilities, entertainment facilities, recreational facilities, shops, restaurants, a world-class sports medicine and research facility, and a national sports museum. The stadium will be linked by road and rail as part of the National Rail and Highways network that will go through all 10 regional capitals. The Black Star Stadium is expected to attract millions of tourists every year from within and outside Ghana. It will provide thousands of jobs directly and indirectly to the youth of Ghana. The future of Ghana. Dream it, plan it, live it. Brought to you by the National Development Planning Commission.
This was the 40-year development plan. 2018, John Mahama making sure say before he left office, this commission was put together. This was all in the plan. We can talk about when it comes to education. This was all in the plan. But Avle says, well, we don't have a vision. We have. We need to insist that these politicians do it. This was the concept. This is what John Mahama and the NDC were saying. Let's have 40 years. This plan should be some of the major plans we have as a nation. Whatever we do, we should not move away from this vision. So the 40-year development plan was there. And the document is still there. The office is still there. So why are we saying as a nation we don't have a vision? We have. In fact, when it comes to transportation, this is what street concept, this is what the plan, this was what was in the plan. All part of it. If we have followed these things, because we would have invested a lot of money in infrastructure and our road networks, and if we had followed this 40-year plan, and kwasiafo we about power, a one of just a sky train. Yeah, train the free kind. Deche. But we had the nam form or the namusium no. Neku for the nam form. In kwasiafo be so 8 years. Today we are sitting here saying we don't have a vision. We have a long-term vision. We have a plan. We should tell the people that Akufo-Addo and the MPP, they have derailed us for 8 years. Just 2024, this is what John Mahama said.
Rawlings had Vision 2020, and when President Kufuor came, 2020 was thrown out of the window, and they brought the poverty reduction strategy. Growth and Poverty Reduction Strategy, GPRS or something like that. And then when he left, Agenda for Transformation came. And then when I came, I brought the 40-year development plan. And when President Akufo-Addo came, he threw the 40-year development. He took part of it and created his Ghana Beyond Aid. And so we don't have a specific plan that we all are working to. And so I'm suggesting that we have the 40-year development plan. We can compress it into a 20-year plan with 4-year segments. And so it's 20 years, we expect to be here in 20 years. But every 4 years, this is where we must reach. Every 4 years, this is where we must reach. And all of us must sign on to the plan so that we implement it together. Whether it's Mahama in power or somebody else comes into power, they will continue their 4-year leg of it. So that it becomes like
simple as that. That's all. Instead of us to hold their leg to the fire, we made these fools who 8 years. Satana radios and TV so and you were scared. You were using idiomatic expressions. You were using figurative speeches. You could not directly address Akufo-Addo's government. When Akufo-Addo was in power for 8 years, you Bernard Avle, Nankoso Chiro books 10 because you became a lecturer, an English lecturer. You were using figurative speeches. Now, you were not being direct. You were using idiomatic expressions because all of you were cowards. You were scared. You could not tell them in their faces that these people are Nkwasiafo. They are not doing the right thing. So nobody should sit on radio or on TV to say, we don't have a long-term plan. We have it. Now let us insist. At least we have an intelligent president who is willing to implement. We all have to support the government to do it. Munjai dia no betina radio so TV so amoye no munnim nyansa nche obi awo obi anya akwara wo kuro ni mo ye nyina taxes de chichiri kuro no enti mo betina radio so na butina fufufu na munyi muti no e betina say because you are timid, you people are timid, you are people we have to respect. Timidity and so you are smart. You people have to speak like men. Be men and speak on the issues. Bogus momi anko enim. Now this is something I want us to talk about. This is gone. My person can be say MPP as a political party omo Jimmy. Now plan be ba omo ye another plan. Makacho says our party will be in opposition for 42 years. Market. And Makacho omo say party negu. Now the tribalism in them no it is now about to manifest. And they be a catch Ghana for the biggest mistake we will make again as a nation is to give power to these pigs. I know what I'm talking about. The biggest mistake we will make as Ghana for is to hand over power to this stupid tribal party. This party that only thinks about a tribe, but not Ghanaians. Makachira must say, this party, so you Ghana Nibia, now we are foresight, now we are somebody who is more, you are very progressive. The NPP as a political party should never be a party you join because that party is not progressive. That party is a party filled with tribal bigots who think everything should be about them. Now, Eboboba, from the beginning of the year, Mekachira said, the NPP as a political party, when they are in opposition, they are daring, they are dangerous because Omi are truthful. Because in their head, Ghana Nibia Jimmy, because they think, say, Yenina Yankwasiafo. And that what they can do is say they will go change their name, they will go change their color, they will go change their logo and come and tell us so many different people. They are the same group of criminals. The NPP, JJ Rollins, they are people you are not supposed to trust. They kill themselves, they kill each other, and they laugh about it. Now, say Chairman Sabonsu was starting ya DB. Or just say Ghana for Jimmy and MPP for no Sebio Asante Forum where MPP no. Almost start agenda B. Yani Jimmy you. The young people will never get space to rule Ghana again. Wakotna a year asempa, and this interview was a planned interview. They know what they are doing. Memaweti interview what they are trying to do. This is Oseche Mensabunsu.
Baba, have you been told at the Frontier party necessary as majority leader then? Oma Kachel. Oh. You know why you were changed?
I know. It was told me by the president at the time.
Okay.
And
but why in the public?
What's it?
Like the reason one fan to that.
Oh, say of free MPs no name ministers no.
Yes.
Or them when a share.
Yes.
Sadino.
Okay.
Na a 7 bobo no. MPs no be about over 80 of them. That many number 137. About 80 of them had appended their signatures. So what to say asimsi neighbor, and I should assure them say I will hold and they will support me. And me call ya present a fraying and all the two anymore. Now even them who crampo no ministers no be a bit here and also say I want to say na papa no beka na president Yamai. Now mamintie they are going to support me. Now I should hold on as the majority
leader.
Now me down must. Some of them sent messages to me in Manima. Me called them honor President Bekasa no. I know kaso adena o ye no one party no ene na me match no against the MPs no ya. Ma hia get the big implosion beba party. And here on the spur of the moment, I decided to say no, I've had enough. Let me step aside. The president de Casa Danukrana me take it down notes. The way no ma general secretary. So when the general secretary come on or take decision. No friends will make us. So I picking down a few notes. We no be some said we be dika. The show na make us resign.
You said it there and there.
I said it there and there. So I didn't want to be the eye of any storm in the party. I'm quoting myself. I'm resigning. And then why did and those of them no more MPs no fault, disappointed them and so on. And so when they heard, they all said the same thing. But I think I took
on my reasoning to on the party to take his decision. Say watch it do and now so Mufi say
oh they
from an answer then.
And not the meet me I can say.
Yes.
They will kind and say some rena and this for now President Mahama no more yin so beda
yes
na onyi ni running mate but sen na AC corona ni so be fa vice president ene Professor
Jena
yes intino President Frey na sem no nam say ne pono no so central region I say ya ho den kofom e wo ho na in visibility e wo ho the minority leaders Nato what take over from Haruna
yes
and they were expecting to have the vice presidential candidate from the same region
sure
and what I say we need to have some visibility there and intina omujidi say
omunyo be from
central region that was asemno so yemra mu say no kura ye standing order say no the minority leader or the majority leader is a person chosen by the party people in parliament and your party outside
yes
so intina okase wo twetwe a akofansa baba
I didn't send baby baba
intina me yes no amenyai what you say
but the reason makes sense to you say party na ho ordaining the visibility from my opponent afa minority leader or mafa or mo ba be fa running mate that should be a good reason
well it
didn't make sense to you
no de Mr. me pese me kan wasem my crew enjoy me
but you were not happy with the decision
oh especially say na AC kono say man hwe ya and I'm so crama confusion
about party
fancy the situation senka man step aside na enne ye din kugu na yen kugu no so enye light in kugu na said ya meko kan baby am say yes we be cry ko to me yes station be ko to me me say oh ye din kugu no we dey na ye finfram pa ma yes citron me no mani ha ne na we say we dey yes chance citron me ensa enti oh say me fa na say nka twuma me ntwimi bai na kugu ya be ya ti menza bonsu refuse to resign na nkofo di mechi na hey nka nkugu e bai nka okra nka me kra be site me say me kan ho bi
and a party
didn't go and na me nka what you say the share situation and I'm saying me ho and as to whether
it from the onanga say Canada could yet changing it free a year as majority leader I the afenyo be chair one chair say na afenyo krampo no enye say he's competent to lead the minority today. It was because Ekufuadu Fili say Infantifone ni bie and that they are losing grip of the central region. Jandam nenko. And it's not catch your say you be here Fantini obi of free central region. So it did not mean so they didn't choose Afenyo Makin because he was competent to be the leader of the NPP in parliament. They chose Afenyo Makin because they thought to say Afenyo Makin was central region, he was going to bring central votes. But at the end of the day, Afenyo Makin Kwasi we lost all the seats in the central region. That is not even my concern because I feel naturally he's stupid and we all can see how he's exhibiting incompetence and foolishness in parliament. It was not like he was competent and he was chosen because of his competency. He was chosen because the Kufuor thought to say, because he's foolish in the central region, he can go there and bully his way to get more seats for the NPP. So Afenyomakin today leading the NPP, it means to say, or a mistake leader. Afenyo by mistake and obey minority leader. And Nichina or picking seat from 137 and 88 because he had no knowledge about holding on to the seat of the NPP. And for a Kufuor to get somebody like Afenyomakin who is foolish and does not understand the dynamics, how to lead and how to negotiate and meet people halfway, that was the beginning of the end of the NPP. And today we know, say Kasongo 99, he wasn't actually the right person to lead. He came in because they felt to say the central region, the Jandam was not working. They needed somebody from the central region, but they did not look for somebody who was intelligent, somebody who was smart enough to understand that you are dealing with human beings. But the most important thing I want to talk to you about and say, when would the Asantini or MPP numero omo party back? The Oseche Mensa Bonsu a planned interview. On see a free leadership one kasasa besine. I can less than a year no makoyi flag bearer. Now I'm sure dynamics Sa obi no ti wono ono esusu box o. Sa the coin to mupe obebie so amwabo adwuma. Enti ono no ote wono o esusu box obi no de hyanse wa frɛ no wakukuom na wa kyɛ ne sɛ we na mpɛsɛ meyɛ obɛyɛ amaw. Now this is what Oseche Mensa Bonsu is doing. Share MPP nim. Mamema opana no. Alan Kojo Chiramanti Oya Santini, he's out. He's not going to contest MPP flag bearership. No. Napo, everybody knows Napo is never going to come back as a running mate. Honestly, as Santini, he's out. John Kuma, he's dead. They killed him. John Kuma too is out. Now, Napo cannot contest with Bawumia again. And a Kennedy Japan is not pure Ashanti. Now, they know there's a vacuum. And that vacuum, then they say, here Asantini to fill the vacuum. Oseche Mensa Bonsu is preparing himself. Obama Bawumia, one option or two options. Either Bawumia makes him the running mate or he contests Bawumia. Politics na mechi no. That is the plan you are seeing there. Now, the Asante MPP, they want to bring another Asantini because they tested they need to tell Ghana for say they are not tribalistic. Obama will say a backfire. Fat. Now, Oseche Mensa Bonsu is preparing himself to take the mantle. Now, he knows that Bawumia is a problem. Now, Bawumia popularity in the party, any Canadian is strong because even in their own party, they have split the party into two. You cannot go into an election with weak party following. Inti Oseche Mensa Bonsu knows. And Onosono Mensiana directing say go and step in. Because right now no the party no eba bafwa kotofie mensia. Also wufri swame. Woye Asantini prekope. Umoja enu fufuru mashaha. Party ni a tribal party. I was say a kwaji party friend kind de fie. Right now no Canada Japan jina ha o Jimmy ye nim ne stand onya Santini ultimate police crowd no because ni hu bini dawson. Mahamudu Bawumia was 38%. Only that weight to win against John Mahama or anybody in the future. Into what we want you to do, then say, go in there, start preparing the people's mind. Prepare Santifona Jenny. Sebio Omudu Dona Jenny will form. Or start take a can some say ya. Oh, Lawrence Adai no Ombe who say we a different character. You were not part of Omo Amomayeko opposition. Because Otieni Kasema, he is actually taking himself out of the defeat. He's making you understand. He's speaking to the party base. Say, me, and I can be leading your parliament, and can you lose this margin in parliament? Meaning, I'm not going to take blame for the defeat. And that if you want leadership, Papa, may ya santini mapamaba. So what he's going to do, Nene say, he's going to have a deal with Bawumia and say, you, Anna Kennedy, especially Bawumia, make me your running mate. Now, when Bawumia refuses, he will contest Bawumia and he will win. Pathway, they are termites. A tribal party, you cannot take it away from them. He's just collecting sympathy onim ne party followers no onim say dodo na Jimmy onim say omadwene wo form onim how he can maneuver. He knows how he can barb them. It the oil and say he's basically walking slowly, and you will see he will appear. Opie pe omega say aha asantini mapa. Where they no count your co-position no na okuta 137 de kufu ado pamo no where they waba saba omia wini flag bearer so de ye den running mate sa wan jan tum so ne be ya obe contest ba omia asantefo nyina be to ama no he will become the flag bearer of the NPP. Because Obianim said Napo Jimmy Napo can never come back into any mainstream politics. He's done. Alan Korekshimante is out. All the people who could have contested Bawumia now, they're out of the picture. Alan is out. John Kuma and Kosa, the guy to do the job. John Kuma has been murdered by the NPP. Now we are talking about somebody to stand up. He does not have the brains. Canada Japan fears Antimemu. They don't see him. They also see him as a mental patient. So right now, no, or say Chairman Sabonsumu, any Santifono more party not trassi. Omaya Mats, no, they want to take the party back to Minshia. Me see the MPP, you can never take tribalism from MPP. And only a chichire party, no. And you see, even in their worst, almost losing about 1.8 million votes, no, they are still doing tribalism because it is in their blood. Because party BT war elections, we now 1.7 to 1.8 million gap. Your job right now is not to try and be tribalistic. Into omon kwarana, omu fina, enjankamba no papa no be wuda and crying. Jantra and Tio want to block back. They think say when we pitch Asante against other tribes, a part in Bewini, it will never happen. Mese Asante was Asante nipa. Asante has land. Asante does not have crowd. And it allows me to say 2024 election, it will show you the raw numbers in the Ashanti region. Because the people in the Ashanti region, majority if you are wanting the two about Ashanti region, and they have been able to cushion their mind or position their mind in some way Asante for. So the moment those people start to get the reality check to say yani dagoma for so yeso be to aba ama chebio obi o wosrem enso akobwa srem yani eye de enkranfo yani kowfo yani, because they try always to make people think say the party is for all accounts. The party is not for all accounts. The party is for a group of Ashantis, not even all Ashantis. And you see, I say chairman Sabonsu I need to say wodru wabetina ho on sibo ya ho boko. They are setting the traps. They are building their colonies. You cannot take tribalism away from them. They want Asantini to lead the party. I'm gonna catch a year ago. Oh, someone say a tribal. I'm about back to factory settings. I'm about start a campaign. You will hear. They I am funibi ever support or say chairman Sabonsu. They will do campaign for him. They would use him like a toilet seat. Me say, using a toilet paper. The loss now, sir, 1.7 million, 1.8 million of losing. They will never come back to it again. You know the reason? Because they know, say, some of our party now party more tribal, the party can never come to power. The only time at the MPP, when the party becomes more tribal, it gingers the base. And right now, because of technology, the party cannot be more tribal because the young Asante they are not listening to, with all due respect, Sebio, they don't want development. Until the party is in the middle of confusion. They don't know what they want. But the video you just watched, Nyabo trying to follow NPP slowly. They are now building an Ashanti block. I'll say Chairman Sabo to be into a meeting when the primaries is closed. Obeka Chen say, I run or you become a running mate. You run, I become a running mate. Say Baumia and Jiba and Tuma. Obeka say, I will contest you. Or contest Baumia. Kennedy Wabodam. They are not going to spend time on Kennedy. They know how to nullify Kennedy. Yes. The MPP as a political party, they know how to nullify Kennedy Japan. Mentally, he's not stable. So they know how to deal with him. They will make sure. They'll calculate and make sure say Baumia accept. So Baumia and Gentuma, they'll go after Baumia, they'll kick him out. Or say Chairman Sabos will win the primaries. And the Hono Obagin say, oh, or say Chairman Sabonsu, Eko ye interview Asempa. No, he is preparing the base on my journey. Because the message now, the substance is that if I were the leader in parliament, I can lose that number. Into Amoati, I say, Genius Antifono deep, no, we were not part of this defeat. Now, with the party Maya, we can bring the party back. That's the message he's sending. Into when you're smarter, you just listen to the guy and say, oh, or Kasakeke, or say mentionable to a grantee interview. What actually called for this interview? At this point, why is he going on radio tour? Was starting with Santimim, why? There is a reason. There's a reason because they know they need to take the party back home. And that is exactly what they are doing. I've been advising Ghanaians to say, Sa party, they cannot do anything without being tribal. They can't. So we see communicators, people who speak for this party, they speak for 2 minutes and the next 8 minutes is all about Yeni. It's all about Obitanye. It's all about Adentina and Tafo in your position. Adentina and Wonafo in your position. Adentina Koufo, Adentina and Smafo, because they don't regard any tribe. And it is not like Adia they can fight. They can't fight. Ayomusu. When any mad person is speaking for the NPP, it comes out. You cannot suppress it. You cannot force it inside because a party, no. And God being so good, no, majority of our Mukasama party, no, Jimmy. So it is so tough. That's why I keep saying the NPP will be in opposition for 42 years. You know why? Because the NPP is not willing to open its umbrella for people from different backgrounds to join. Because when losing election less than 3 months, now much the TV, Sony radio, so can say, and tough when your position, dodo, and when I find your position, dodo, and I will when you have now why number 12? Because it's about competence. A government can come to power and choose if they are competent to do the job. That's what I need. So we study parliament. I have not spoken about a man for making issues out of the majority allowing Afejomakin to fool. The reason why I have not concentrated on that is that we have given the majority a job to do. Cancel e-levy, cancel betting tax. Make sure that the things you said you use parliament to make it happen, let it happen. As far as they are doing that, Afejomakin between the draws in the show and anti-parliament. I don't care. Because I need them to deliver for the people, because the parliament, they said they needed that number. We have given them the number. So whether Ayariga is slow, whether Ayariga is not combative, whether the majority is allowing the minority to exhibit a lot of stupidity and ignorance, I don't care.